Well, my phone book's pretty good, and Travis Tritt and I actually had a really good run. I love Travis. I was going through a Burger King drive-through in Birmingham, Alabama, and I heard this song on the radio called "I'm a Member of the Country Club." And I had written this song with my buddy Ronnie Scape called "The Whiskey Won't Work Anymore." And Ronnie said, let's change it to "The Whiskey Ain't Working." I said, good idea. So we sent it over to Hank Jr., and we thought it would be perfect for Bo Cephas, and Bo Cephas didn't think so he returned it. So I didn't know what to do with that song because I was finished recording on a record called "Tempted." I didn't need anything. So I thought, I knew it was a hit. I just had this gut feeling that song was a hit. In that Burger King drive-thru, I heard this guy's voice, and I thought, that guy can sing. And later in that same week, I saw him for the first time on Johnny Carson's show, and he was cocky, and he went out there and just kind of took over, and Johnny Carson, he made Johnny Carson laugh a couple of times. I thought, that's pretty good, country boy. And I found out he was from Georgia. The next day I remember calling the publisher going, send that whiskey song to this kid Travis Tritt at Warner Brothers. So they did. And his producer called me not long after that and said, Travis wants to record the song. I said, wonderful, wonderful. And he recorded it, and his producer called me not long after that and said, Travis wants to know if you would come to the studio and play guitar on the song. I said, absolutely. So I went over, and he wasn't there. He was back in Georgia. This was in Nashville. On the way out of the studio, Greg Brown said, how about you go sing the second verse? I said, it don't need it. He took care of it. He said, just do me a favor, sing the second verse. So I set my guitar case down and went and sang the second verse and left and didn't think any more about it. And a few months later, I was in a motel room in Oklahoma, and Travis called. He said, we got a hit. I said, a hit what? He said, a hit song. I said, well, which one? He said, Whiskey, the only one we've ever done. I went, well, cool. So that's how I found out about the song was taking off, and I met him for the first time at a CMA Awards show. We both just kind of looked at each other and passed. But the next year at FanFest, I saw where he was playing some show, and I just wormed my way backstage to say thank you. That really was a hit. And it was one of those things that was unplanned. He said, come on out and sing the song. And he said, I won't even introduce you, just walk out. So that's what I did. And when I walked out, everybody stood up. The place went nuts just to see the both of us. And we just hit it off. I felt like we had been raised 3 doors down from each other. We loved the same people, ragged on the same people, starting with ourselves, and just, like kindred spirits. But we sang that one song, and the place went nuts. We had to do it again and again. And throughout the whole rest of the week, country music fans will vote you in or vote you out. But they voted that in. Everywhere I went that week, that thing you and Travis did, you and Travis, you and Travis, you and Travis. So we had enough sense to do something about it. My manager at the time and his manager, Ken Cragen, we put together a show called the No Hats Tour and took it out across America, and it ripped it up pretty good. Steve, Earl, there was a bunch of us that got started about the same time. Dwight and Steve and me, and then here comes Randy Travis, and Ricky Skaggs had been there before. John Anderson had already been there. Tanya had already been there, but younger people playing country music back at that time was a novelty. But Steve was one of those rockers, or there was everybody else, and there was Steve. And I always just loved Steve. He's so good. He is so brilliant. And he hit a snag and had to go to timeout for a good while and deal with some of his demons. But when he came out, all of a sudden Steve was back in town and nobody wanted to touch him. And I thought, bullshit. That's my friend. And Tony Brown said, you want to do a track? I said, yeah, if you'll let me play with Steve. And that was an easy sell because Tony had been a part of producing Guitar Town, Steve's breakthrough record. So we came up with a song and we did it. And my favorite part of that whole memory was we went out and did it on The Tonight Show. And, the former version I had seen of Steve, he weighed 14 pounds and was just made Hank Williams look big, But when he came out, he was healthy and he was big, and his mouth wouldn't shut up. He talked from the time we left the tarmac in Nashville all the way to L.A. And this woman, he finally got up to go to the restroom in this plane. This woman leaned forward and said, "Doesn't he talk loud?" I said, "Ma'am, that's the prettiest sound I've heard in years. My friend's back." And so we got Steve back. But that was an excuse for us just to get together and shake hands and go, let's keep going.